Hey y'all, what's up? This is Rosie, and I was watching this video by a Gen X creator named Kontrides. I love him and all the Gen X creators that I follow. But he said that he's often asked which generation is the toughest, and they usually think he's going to say Gen X, not by a long shot. But that's what he said. He said, no, not by a long shot. And he's not wrong. If I remember to look for and post a link for that short in the description, I will do that, but I might forget, and I'm sorry, so I just advise you to look for it yourself if I forget. But anyway, I digress. We're not the toughest, but we're pretty damn tough. But see, we didn't go through the things that the greatest generation and the silent generation had to go through. The greatest and silent generations were the early 1900s, the early 20th century. They had to fight World Wars I and II, the Korean War, and they went through the Vietnam War. Now, after World War II, you had prosperity in America. You saw these cookie cutter homes going up in different neighborhoods and cul-de-sacs and new developments, and so they had prosperity and 2.5 kids coming up in the home and everything like that in the 40s and the 50s. And then in the 1960s, the Vietnam War came up, so the boomers had to fight in the Vietnam War. And the greatest and silent gens also went through the complete and total collapse of the economy, and they suffered through the Depression, the Great Depression. And if things don't get better now, I am so afraid that that's what we'll be going through not long from now, but I'm praying that we don't. But anyway, so yeah, they fought through wars, through famine, poverty, through the deaths of their families, through the loss of their savings, through the loss of their homes, not knowing how they were going to make it through the next day, not knowing how they were going to feed their children, not knowing if they were going to be able to feed themselves. And that's what those generations fought through, toiled through. And then if you were black, oh God. So yeah, I don't want to get into the history lessons there, but fighting through oppression, fighting through bigotry and hatred just because they had darker skin than the people who came over here and stole the country. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, we're not the toughest generation by a long shot. And see, the things that Gen X went through were not even close to the wars and the Cold War and the Great Depression. We didn't go through all of that. We fought through the wars in our schools. What do I mean by that? I mean that a lot of us were hungry growing up. We didn't have money like some of the kids in wealthier or more well-to-do middle-class families. So we, a lot of times, going to breakfast and lunch at school were the only meals we get through the day. Thankfully, I didn't have to grow up that way because we had money growing up. Well, we didn't have money, like we weren't rich, we weren't wealthy by a long shot. But my mom did make a way for us to eat at night too. But I did have to be on the free lunch program. But anyway, the wars, besides that, the war of hunger that we had to fight, we also had to fight the war of bullying from other students and sometimes from our teachers. And to get a glimpse of what that was like, I do have a video on my channel talking about how my first grade substitute teacher helped a boy in my class steal from me. So yeah, sometimes the teachers bullied you too. We had to fight wars at home if we had step parents or if our parents didn't really care about us too much. Thankfully, I didn't know what that was like. My mom cared about me, but um, yeah, we had to fight a different war. We didn't have to fight wars with guns, although in the 80s we did hear on the news every night about the war on drugs and about the war on gangs. And I'm not even going to get into the history on that. Those are whole other videos in themselves, and that's if I decide to make them. But and then there were the playground wars. What were the playground wars? Well, besides the fight with our bullies, we had to fight with the equipment on the playground. We fought through burning metal and steel and frying pancake and frying griddles on the playground, the slides. Okay, they were made out of steel, out of stainless steel, and they did in the hot sun feel like pancake griddles. And we would be wearing shorts and we would be wearing pants and we would slide down these slides and suffer 75-degree burns, and then we would run our little happy asses around and go up again. And we just did that for hours. But not me. I would go down like once or twice and then I would go straight for the swings. To this day, the swings are my favorite. I think I might have said that in another video. Some went for the merry-go-rounds, some went for the seesaws. I went for the swings. And our playgrounds were on concrete. Black freaking concrete. The first time I was on a playground that wasn't made of concrete was when I went to a school called Baker School, and there were like these big huge rocks, the soft beautiful, the really pretty rocks. Those were everywhere, and it made, if we fell, it made the fall not as bad, like we were able to get up and not be hurt. But sometimes we would take those rocks home, I'm not going to lie, because we love those smooth rocks. And I would like to buy some of those. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah, we were pretty tough, but we were not the toughest. As a matter of fact, I think in order for us to be tough again, we have to learn some of the things that earlier generations learned. We need to learn agriculture. We need to learn how to grow our own fruits and vegetables, which is something that I aspire to do. I would love to grow a small lemon tree, maybe a small orange tree, and just have that for home use. Maybe some strawberries and some blackberries, tomatoes. I just want a garden. My grandfather, who was part of the Silent Gens, he had a garden. Even when he used to stay in the hood, he always had a garden in his backyard. So I would love to be able to grow a garden like him. We need to learn agriculture, and we need to learn how to do our own farming, even if it's on a smaller scale, just so that we have a way to survive and a way to help our neighbors and each other. Because the way things are going now, we might have to learn that anyway. So once again, as I said before, just like John Kontrides said, we're pretty damn tough, but we're not the toughest, not by a long shot. And with that, you guys, I'm going to go. You will find my Cash App, PayPal, and GoFundMe links in the description if you would consider hitting those and checking those out and helping me out. Every little bit counts, and I would appreciate it a lot because we are struggling, trying to get out of the struggle, but But anyway, if you would like to be a part of the tribe, hit the subscribe button. I'll be so glad to have you. Hope to see y'all on the next one. Bye for now.